You ever watch a power struggle play out so nakedly in public, you almost feel embarrassed for the people who started it? That's how this whole mess began, and I mean mess from the lobby's polished marble to the upper reaches of a luxury hotel in downtown LA, where reputation is everything, and the only thing more fragile than trust is someone's ego. So let me back up a sec, because you need to know how a housekeeper with a little-known knack for Japanese, ended up in the crosshairs of a $100 million negotiation where the smallest misstep could tank not just a deal, but careers, futures, maybe the whole damn company. You know what I mean? It started on a Sunday because disaster loves Sundays. Dalton, the general manager, is losing his mind in the lobby. We've got a Japanese billionaire, Mr. Kata, standing cool and silent, and there's no interpreter. None. The guy who was supposed to translate called out, "Agencies won't answer," and now Dalton's assistant looks ready to cry into his iPad. And to top it off, 3 American investors waltz in, snickering, barely trying to hide their contempt. Guy can't even speak English. How's he worth billions? The kind of comment that tells you everything about who's used to having the last word. That's when I speak up. "I can help," I say, which stops the whole room cold. They all turn Dalton, the investors, Takati eyes landing on me. Anna, just a housekeeper with a cart and a tidy bun. Dalton's veins bulge, and he snaps at me, "Not now. This is a high-profile negotiation, not a tourist mix-up. Go back to your floor." But Takata, he's watching, not blinking. And when I step up and greet him in Japanese, bowing just the way my foster mother taught me back in Kyoto, something in the room changes, almost like everyone else finally remembers they're not alone in it. He bows back. He's disappointed, he says quietly, but willing to continue if things improve. Dalton's shoulders drop a little. He tells me to stay close, maybe thinking, fine, what's the harm? And then, of course, one of the investors, Ron Wilkins, tries to catch me in a lie, asking if I'm just making things up. I offer, all calm, to translate his little insult to Mr. Takata directly. The investor backs off, and for a second, I swear Dalton realizes he's lost control of the room. But Takata and I were already moving toward the elevator leading, him following, the whole world watching. Upstairs, in the VIP suite, Takata asks where I learned Japanese. 10 years in Kyoto, raised by a foster mom who believed language was more about silence than sound. He tells me I'm not like most Americans, polite, observant, willing to listen. And he asked me to come interpret for a morning meeting with investors. I hesitate. Dalton won't like it, but Takata just nods. I hire people who aren't afraid to do what's right. His words hit like a challenge and a promise, and when I step out of that suite, my head is spinning with the weight of it. But Dalton isn't done. He calls me to his office, chews me out for breaking protocol, reminds me, not so kindly, that this isn't some heartwarming movie and I'm a housekeeper, not a translator. Hands me a warning notice. Tells me if I step foot near the VIP floor again, I'm out. I hold my ground. You're not the only one who knows the value of silence. And I leave, knowing the real fight is just getting started. Next morning, I'm scrubbing bathrooms on floor 7, trying to lose myself in routine when my phone buzzes. Takata's assistant is calling, needs me in the big conference room now. I should say no, but I know what's at stake, so I slip off my gloves, take the stairs, and walk straight into a storm. The meeting is already tense. Investors on one side, Takata and his people on the other. Ron Wilkins protests to janitor. "We've got professionals coming," but Takata insists. She is here to interpret at my request. The air crackles. As we start, it's clear someone's been twisting contract terms between the English and Japanese versions, little changes that mean big money. When I point out a clause that's been rewritten to favor the American partners, Wilkins claims it's a drafting oversight, but Takata shuts him down. It's fraud. Dalton tries to throw me out, but Takata says, if she leaves, I leave. In the end, the Americans back down. We finish the meeting, and Takata thanks me quietly. "You were better than I expected." I leave the room, knowing I've crossed a line I can't uncross. By the time I return to the staff floor, rumors are already flying. Anna corrected a lawyer in Japanese. Takata smiled because of her. I ignore it, but I feel the burn. I get called to Dalton's office this time. He's not alone. Ron's there, and he's furious. They suspend me, say I've overstepped, but I push back. You already lost control when you stopped listening. Ron laughs. You're just a cleaning girl, but I stand my ground. I walk out, dignity bruised but not broken. That night, Takato's assistant calls Takuto, wants me at tomorrow's meeting as his personal guest. Nobody, no uniform. I agree, even though I know it's risky. When I arrive the next morning in clothes I haven't worn since my job interview, Kenji brings me straight to Takata. He hands me both versions of the contract English and Japanese, and I spot it right away. Someone swapped out intellectual property clauses, changed arbitration locations. Takato's jaw tightens, and he says quietly, "Today, I don't need a translator. I need a witness." We walk into the boardroom together, side by side. Takata has Wilkins read both versions of a key clause aloud, exposing the deception in front of everyone. He calls it what it is, fraud. Dalton tries to stall, but Takata ends the deal on the spot. The fallout is immediate. Wilkins storms out. Dalton is left reeling, and I become, in that moment, more than invisible labor. I'm the one who saw through the smoke and said so. But you know how power works, it doesn't let go easy. Back on the staff floor, whispers turn to cold stares. HR tries to discipline me. Ron plots in the shadows. And I get warned by a woman in HR, they're not firing you because you did wrong. They're firing you because you're good, too good. Claire, the HR director, hands me an envelope inside, recommendation letter, and a memo. Takata is nominating me for an executive liaison position in New York. But I have to accept before Ron can bury me for good. At a private dinner that night, Ron tries to sideline me, but Takata brings me back to the table. She has a better ear. Afterward, Ron corners me, hissing that I'm just a guest, and guests eventually leave. Then maybe you shouldn't have let the guest learn your language, I tell him, and this time, I don't flinch. When the official offer arrives from Takata, not HR, I don't hit reply right away. I look out over the city, think about all the times my voice was supposed to stay quiet. And then I answer, yes. But I don't leave Laurel Palace quietly, because the war's just begun. In the following weeks, I dig deeper, help uncover a conspiracy involving vendor payments, forged documents, and blackmail, all orchestrated by the very people who said I didn't belong in the room. With help from Claire and a quiet investigator named Mr. Oda, I expose Ron and Wilkins, connect the dots, and bring the evidence to Takata. The press gets wind, the board scrambles, and in front of the International Investors Council, I present the whole story. The vote is swift. The conspirators are out. The people who thought silence would protect them are suddenly very, very loud. Takata gives me a new badge, Chief of Strategic Integrity. But the shadow games aren't over. Threats arrive, photos of my brother, warnings to walk away before you drown. Instead, I go public. I testify in federal court, lay out the paper trail, and make sure the next person who cleans a room in this city knows silence is not a shield, it's a slingshot. The guilty are found guilty. A foundation is started in my Namido train, more voices like mine. I give a speech at my old high school, reminding a new generation. You won't always be invited into the room, but that doesn't mean you don't belong. In the end, the city is mine, to the city and every shadow in it, every corner where voices go unheard. And that's where I'll stay. Not for revenge, not for pride, but for every person who was told to stay silent and chose to speak. Because power doesn't come from a title. It comes from the courage to say what everyone else is too afraid to admit. So what do you think? Right and wrong, was it ever about business, or was it always about voice? Let me know in the comments. Share your take on justice and community. And if you've ever felt invisible, maybe it's time to speak. Maybe it's time the world listened.